God, my browser's kind of visible, huh? Probably should be paying more attention with what's going on. All right. So, doing something a little bit different today. Last year, I participated in Mossflower's VTuber Tiny Jam 2025 as my first public game jam. Thought it was really fun. And I think I said in my final stream from that game jam that I wanted to make a video kind of recapping my experience and what I learned from it. And then I never did it. So I thought, why not make it a couple streams? Just write out the script and start producing the video. Make it a quick video, hopefully like a 5 to 10 minute thing. And just have it be something to remember. So let's put a title here. And we'll just call it recap video. So we should start with an opener. Here's the structure, right? We're gonna have an opening overview statement. Start with how I joined? No, that's not that interesting of a story. How about where the idea for the game came from? The tools that we're using. We'll cover the development cycle. Submission results. What I learned. And closer. Yeah, that's the structure we'll go with. Let's start with that. How do I want to start this video? That's a good question. Let's go with how long have you wanted to become a game developer? Go for some. It's a dream job beyond reach. And for others, nah, that's kind of cheesy. We don't want to get that cheesy. In fact, I already answered this question about like how long I wanted to become a game developer and stuff in the other game jam recap video. Let's not tread water here. Let's make this video for people who may discover my channel for the first time. Let's just say it's a period or a comma? I already forgot. Hi, I'm Kaijucon. A VTuber, aspiring game developer. Yeah, that's a good way to introduce myself to people who might see this video for the first time. Let's see. Been studying game development as a hobby for almost a year now. Has it been a year? When was VTuber Tiny Jam 2025? I already forgot. It's been so long. Should be able to find out by just going to the Tiny Jam page. Oh wow, yeah, it's almost been a year. That's crazy. We're almost a year now. And I heard I want to make sure I'm getting his name spelled correctly here. Where's Mossflower's Twitch page? There he is. Okay, that's how you spell his name. Mossflower. I heard Mossflower. Game Jam called VTuber Tiny Game Jam 2025. Opportunity to challenge myself. And make fully realized project within a tight deadline. I think I signed up like 2 weeks before the game jam actually started. Finding out what I'll do for the event. Oh, why did that do that? Alright, that's fine. For those who don't know what a game jam is, an event. How should I make this funny? It's an event where real people sacrifice their livelihood apparently spelled that wrong. Livelihood. Okay. Sacrifice their livelihood and social. With their livelihood. Develop games to suffocating deadlines. You lose sleep. Eat worse and survive on caffeine. It's an amazing experience. Highly recommended. Tiny Game Jam. Actually, we'll just we'll save for Mossflower's event. Deadline was 10 days. Which should be The issue I was facing was that I have a full-time job. So I wouldn't benefit. Well, maybe so the extended time frame only allowed me to work. Is time frame 2 words? It is 2 words. Okay. Most for this event, the deadline was 10 days, which should be considered generous by most game jam standards. Only issue I was facing was that I have a full-time job, so the extended time frame only allowed me to work for a couple hours a day on weekdays. It was alright though, I figured, because I have the weekends. Surely, my growing knowledge in game development that time would make this project viable. Right? Why is it when I hit enter it resets my indents like that? Wild. Okay, now what do we want to write for this paragraph? We're writing where the idea for the game came from. I'm not an ideas guy. Oops. Guy. I like iterating on other people's concepts because they offer a strong foundation for realizing further concepts or mechanics. To my good friend Joe Dog. Asked him for an idea. Asked him for a game idea. That's when he needs to make a coffee shop game where you hunt monsters for ingredients. Wrote up an entire design document with all the ideas in our heads. Here's the basic concept though. Goodness sakes. That's gonna get annoying very fast. There are 2 shifts the player must work at this coffee shop. During the day shift, player will use their finite ingredients to serve coffee to customers. Then, during the night shift, the player will use a magic gun to hunt monsters that drop coffee ingredients that can be carried over to the day shift. Money made during the day shift can be used to upgrade the magic gun to make hunting easier and collecting more ingredients. Hunting and collecting more ingredients easier. With the premise and basic design of the game established, I scheduled out my live streams for the Game Jam event. How about we just go? I went live on stream to showcase the development project for my game. Alright. Already a decent chunk of the script written out. Probably gonna be worth opening YouTube here and just skimming through the footage to see what was some of the first things I did for this project. Luckily, all of the VTuber Tiny Jam 2025 stuff was streamed and saved in a playlist. So what was the first thing I did? Looks like I opened a blank project and then started working on the basic player movement. So that's a good start. Started by opening blank project in Unreal Engine. Engine 4. Started implementing basic character movement systems for the night shift. I should expand on this a little bit, because the day shift controls are very different from the night shift controls. So we'll just expand on that by saying, during the day shift, the player will use their finite ingredients to serve coffee to customers. This will control like a typical 2D job simulator. Where the player controls their actions through the UI instead of directly controlling their character. Then during the night shift, the player will use a magic gun to hunt monsters that drop coffee ingredients that can be carried over to the day shift. This will use more traditional third-person shooter controls. More traditional third-person shooter controls, so that the player can hunt monsters freely. Sure. We may revisit that sentence, but that's okay. We're implementing the basic character movement systems for the night shift. Don't need to really elaborate any further on how that works. It's pretty straightforward. What else did I do? That's moving and jumping. Oh, and then shooting. This included moving, looking around. No, we don't need to do that. I'm literally using mannequins for the prototyping of the guns, which is funny. I forgot how I did that. Used a mannequin model. It's not how you spell mannequin. No, it is not. Use the mannequin model to prototype the weapon mechanics. Originally, weapon mechanics I totally didn't mimic from my 7-hour game jam project. When was that game jam project actually? Was it like a month prior? I think it was like a month prior that I did the 7-hour game jam challenge. Or 8-hour game jam challenge. It was 8 hours, wasn't it? I ask as if I shouldn't already know this. It was 8 hours, okay. Really meant it for my 8-hour game jam project. What else did I do? How much time did I spend on the weapon mechanics, man? That's crazy. Wow, I spent like an hour on that. What am I iterating on here? Oh, shoot. I started here, hold on. This might be worth showing. Hold on. Let me jump to the timeline here. This is the part of the stream where I was literally concept drawing what the game was gonna look like because I hadn't done that yet. That's hilarious. I forgot about that. Oh my god, VTuber Tiny Jam 2025 must have been so funny to watch. I haven't sat down and rewatched all of that. I should do that at some point. That might be fun. That back up there. Okay. That's when I realized I hadn't drawn any concept art for what the game looked like. So I cracked open Krita and started drawing out the day shift gameplay style. Looks like I didn't spend too much time on that because then I just jumped straight into making the coffee machine widget. Nice, okay, cool. How do I take it from here? With that done, I was able to start designing the day shift coffee machine. We'll call it UI. This would work by having 9 buttons. Was it 9 buttons? Oh, I can't count. That's 7. This will work by having 7 buttons for dispensing ingredients into the customer's cup. This cup would only hold 3 ingredients so that the recipes could remain simple. Once the cup was full, player would give the customer for them to validate whether or not. We don't have to go that in depth just yet, I don't think. Oh my goodness. Okay, save that. God, looking back on how I did this stuff, I'm just like, there are so many things I should have done differently to make my UI so much cleaner. I could probably any percent speedrun the Cafe des Armes development in like 3 days nowadays. Or at least get to the same level in 3 days rather than the full 10 to 10 days. Yeah, 10 days that I end up taking. Like this is where I start trying to implement the customer AI. Wow, this development cycle was completely disorganized. I started implementing the night shift enemies. Might be worth breaking this up into days. So let's do this, and then we'll do bold underline day 1. Did start to prototype the enemy AI for the night shift, but ultimately ran out of time for the day. So I updated our implementation log. How about this? I added an implementation log to our Google Doc for the game jam and noted the successes for the day. Yeah, that should be good. I think breaking it up into days like this would also make the story easier to kind of tell and keep focused. I say, and before I realized that development cycle is so chaotic that there's not really a good linear story to tell there. But we'll see. Alright, let's go to the Z2 stream here. When was the day 2 stream? 21st, 2025. So if I push you. June 21st. That was a Saturday. Only streamed for 4 hours. That's crazy. What am I working on here? Oh my god. Because the day shift and night shift gameplay modes were separated to different levels, figured it would be important to implement a save system. This will force the game to save our ingredients counts between levels so that the coffee shop can run on consistent rely on the player's income of ingredients and maintain the suffering from losing ingredients for each customer served. This. It looks like I'm prototyping the night shift AI here. Once that was set up, went back to continue iterating on the enemy AI for the night shift. Oh. And the AI is simple. Extremely simple. If they see you, they attack you. If you kill them, they ragdoll. Ta-da! Yeah, we'll go with that. That's pretty much all they do, really. What is that? I can't quite see it. What is that? I'm gonna have to lean in. Hold on. Okay. I see. I'm adding pickups. That just looks really strange, blueprint-wise. Put that done. Worked on adding the... Taking something. Okay. That done, I started adding the pickups. The monsters will drop 4 ingredients. This is also a simple blueprint. When it spawns, the AI will tell the item what ingredient it is. Then based on that, when the player steps over the item, it will tell the player what ingredient they now have +1 of. Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. Kind of proud of the fact that I actually came up with that somehow. Back then, I thought I knew a lot. I really knew so little. I still know so little, but I know a lot more now. Confident I could reiterate a lot of what I designed here. What's this? Then slaps together. Game over screen for the night shift, which will recap how many ingredients the player picked up as they worked through their shift. Once the player has, actually just and a button to return to the day shift. Will spawn when the player is out of ammo or is killed. I'm gonna have to rewatch this stuff with audio on just to validate my script's contents. Probably a tomorrow activity. Well, I don't know, cause like, are you writing a diary? Uh, kind of. Um, just writing a kind of like a recap video script for how the event went. Um, I love YouTube channels like Danny Dev and Rye, you know, game developers who make like I made a game in X amount of days at this event and here's how I did it. So I thought, oh, it'd be kind of fun to kind of put my own spin on that kind of content, considering I love talking to my friends about this stuff, but I never thought about putting it into a proper video format. And most of the times I don't write the scripts because I'm like, oh, I don't have time. But if I dedicate a stream to it, well, now I have time. That's simple. Where are we here? I think I'm... Wow, I'm looking at how I programmed the coffee machine and I'm just like, that's sloppy. But it's been almost a year, so of course I would look back on it and go, what was I thinking? Okay, so this is where I start designing the coffee ingredient icon. So, should talk about that a little bit. Started programming the coffee machine when I realized there was an issue with the button. Couldn't tell what ingredient they were for. So I went into Krita and started drawing the ingredients based on their real world counterparts. Yeah, I'll pull it up on stream here. Now let's play it sped up because watching me draw at normal speed is probably a war crime. Here we go. This is 2 times speed. YouTube doesn't really allow any faster, it seems. But even just skimming, you could see just like a lot of time spent on that. We're already at 20 minutes on the skimming bar. 30 minutes. So 30 minutes. 30 minutes for 6 ingredients ain't too bad, actually. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been so much worse. Okay, so it took about not half an hour, but it was. And we don't need to talk about how long that took. So, skim through that again, get to the endpoint. Then exported these drawings to make them icons for the buttons. Surely the coffee bean and espresso bean icons looking slightly similar will be a cause for confusion in the future. So this sentence I'm adding here because A, foreshadowing is funny, but B, I need to see if I can find Mossflower's VOD for VTuber Tiny Jam 2025. Because I did watch it. I think it was like a day or two after he hosted the live stream, and when he played my game, he genuinely didn't know which button was espresso and which one was coffee bean, and he couldn't figure it out during the 10 or 15 minutes he spent with my game because I didn't put any text about which is which. It was just, oh, people know what coffee beans look like, and espresso beans are just darker coffee, so they should figure that out. That must have been sleep deprived me talking toward the end of the development timeline, because boy howdy, I should have really done more with that, and I ended up doing so when I made when I put out a patch for the game. Like, I think it was like a month later I put out a patch for Cafe de Arms, and that's how it fixed it. Or not fixed it, but it certainly improved some things. Okay, so add all the buttons, add all the icons. Oh, that's all I did for day 2. Oh wait, I actually did implement some more functionality to the coffee machine. With the art done, spend time adding functionality to the coffee machine UI before updating the implementation log for the day. God, I'm just watching myself program this, and I'm just like, why are you doing it that way, me? It would be fun to do a challenge of like, let's recreate these old projects, but definitely not a soon thing. Definitely not a soon thing. That's 2 days down. We've got our placeholder assets. Here. Let's change this a little bit. With that taken care of, added functionality to the coffee machine UI, making the buttons print strings, stating what they were to test it out. That's 2 days down, and now we've got our placeholder assets coffee machine that lists the ingredient when pressed. Oh shoot, I did add one more thing. Added colored boxes to represent the ingredients poured into the customer's cup. Here, I'll pull it up on stream real quick. Literally just saw it. Of me testing it. Where'd it go? There it is. If I just go back a couple seconds. Ta-da! Neat, right? And adds to the customer's cup. done. Next day. Cool. And then let's just indent that. Day 03. Whoa. I forgot I had that in the making. I forgot I had that in the Twitch thing. Oh shoot, did my alerts not go through? Oh shoot, hold on. Why did that not go through? Oh, that's why I didn't add alerts into the scene. Oh my god, I've scrambled to get this stream ready today because I stayed up way too late yesterday. Apologies. Your get caffeinated redeem did not show on stream because I'm a fool. I'm a fool for a lot of reasons, if I'm being honest. Yesterday I was up for 24 hours for no other reason than I didn't get a lot of sleep Friday or Thursday night, and after work yesterday I wanted to play Division 2. That's the only reason. You heard it, so it's good enough. I'm glad that the audio at least came through. I know it came through for sure because I got eardrum blasted from that. We had moral of the story: don't stay up 24 hours, especially if you're a content creator and you're not doing it for content. Not healthy. Okay. Day 3 is broken up into 2 streams. Why is it broken up into 2 streams? Oh, you know what? Day 3 was a Sunday, so I probably was like, I'll work in the morning, take a lunch break, and come back to do evening stream. What did I work on here? More implementations of the coffee machine, it looks like. Yep. I broke up day 3's stream into 2 sessions. One morning session and one evening session. Okay, so first thing I did was work on the coffee machine's functionality. Was mostly a reminder to take a drink in case of a streamer jerk. Well, I did have coffee right before the stream, but I do need water. So let me go ahead and drink that. I even remembered to refill my water pitcher today. So that's good. Okay. Right, coffee machine stuff. For the first session, started out by fleshing out the coffee machine UI's mechanics. Firstly, to make sure the ingredients were being depleted and making the coffee, but also to make sure that the cup would properly track ingredients were inside so the customer could validate it later. Cool. Is that all I did for the first session? Oh, I actually made the physical cups. Did I use these physical cups? Man, it's been so long. I genuinely don't remember so much about the original Cafe d'Armes version development. I made a coffee cup, but did I actually use it? Okay, that makes me want to check the actual itch page now. Hold on, opening up itch right now. We're gonna check this out. Oh, hold on, shameless plug opportunity. The April Fool's game that I made for that 2 stream prank. I finished it yesterday. It's now live on itch.io. It's called A Dark Dungeon. If you like the idea of a very, very simple procedurally generated dungeon with a very light story every 5 floors, this game is certainly one of those. Anyway, plug is over. Let me go back to actually doing what I was supposed to do here. All right, Cafe d'Armes. Here it is. Oh my god, I didn't end up using the cup model. here's the screen that I'm working on at this point in the live stream. I 3D modeled a cup so that way I could have it be displayed in the coffee machine. Didn't end up using it. What a waste. What a waste. Can I even bring it up then? I mean, it's kind of worth bringing up that time was spent trying to go beyond what I'm capable of at this time of the stream, I guess. We'll make it a joke. We'll make it a joke. I also totally didn't open Blender to 3D model a cup that would not be used in the final version of the game. How much time did I spend on that cup? At the 1 hour and 17-minute mark is when I started modeling the cup. One hour and 40 minutes, so about half an hour. It's not that much time. Oh shoot, I also tried to prototype changing the color of the liquid inside the cup based on the coffee ingredients used. Oh, that hurts. Also didn't try to make the color of the liquid in the cup dynamic based on the ingredients used by the player in Unreal Engine. That would be a colossal... That's not how you spell colossal? Nope, it's 1 L. Colossal waste of time, wouldn't it? I already have like some funny ideas on how I'm gonna record and edit this video. The 8-hour game jam video that I put out a couple months ago, I rushed the hell out of it so that way I could use it to promote my participation in VTuber Tiny Jam 2026. I'm not very proud of that video. There's a lot of corners that had to be cut and it sucked to do that. So I'm gonna actually properly take my time to make this video a little more fun to make. For one, I'd like to actually film the video in an updated like coffee shop environment. Technically, nothing is a waste, as you did learn things along the way. That is true. I did learn some cool things. Learning Blender was definitely something that I got from... Actually, a lot of what I learned from Blender during this project was from you, Awen. I think this was actually like when you started tuning in, huh? VTuber Tiny Jam 2025. Because you're the one who taught me about the skin modifier for the human characters. Even if that lesson was dynamic copy is hard. Yeah, dynamic copy. It was hard, but also it was hard to frame, put it in good view of the player. But maybe that's an idea we can revisit when we iterate on Cafe des Armes later this year. Oh, that's all I did for session one was this. That's all I did for session one. So we can just jump into session two. Just for context, right? At this point in the script, we've essentially recapped 8 hours of work. We're going at a good pace. So part 2 is 2 hours. That's next is 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 11 hours, 14 hours, 15, 16 hours, 19 hours, and then the final stream was 6 hours. So that's 25 hours. So Cafe des Armes was made in 25 working hours. That's pretty good. You were bouncing through some people streaming for the jam since you knew a couple of them. Oh, were there multiple people streaming for the event aside from Mossflower and myself? I had no idea. That's pretty cool. I wish I was more aware of that. I would have loved to go back and watch those guys work on their games. I wonder if Mossflower has considered having an editor like flag the people who are live streaming their participation and then just edit like a highlights moment for the event. That'd be kind of cool. But also, Mossflower has other priorities, like his actual game development stuff. So maybe that's for someone else to work on. Right. What's session 2 start with? Oh my god, I'm still iterating on the dynamic coffee into session 2. No! Oh my god, I did so much. Oh, and it's so cool too, because I actually modeled ice for the coffee too. Oh, that hurts. It hurts so much. When we get back to work on the Cafe des Armes, the first thing I'm gonna do is rewatch all these VODs. So that way I can steal all the cool ideas that didn't make it and put it in the game. Because, God, 3D modeling the coffee cups was a great idea. I just didn't know how to put it in the game proper. So we wrapped that up in the start of session 2. So it looks like we modeled the coffee machine shortly after that. Hey, could you pull a Bethesda and add the cut content and a paid DLC for $20? You know the infamous horse armor DLC that Bethesda put out for, I think it was Oblivion. Just do coffee cup DLC where you pay $20 to physically see the coffee cups. That's what we'll do. That's funny as hell. For session 2, opened up Blender and made our coffee machine. Apparently I didn't spend the rest of the stream just working on the coffee machine, right? About that. About that. Yeah, it really shows how much I feel good about myself watching these VODs, because I can see that I myself in the moment have learned from the mistakes I'm making here. I'll pull it up on stream. I myself have learned so much from Blender, working with it and learning from you, Awen, that some of the mistakes I'm making here, like if I go all the way to specifically here, importing it to Unreal Engine. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Hold on. Just let the video catch up to it. Because the way you import models to Unreal is, especially 4.27, was so weird. And so having the UVs be screwed up like that, I now know how to consistently avoid that. And so it's really funny looking back and seeing how much time I spent trying to fix that issue. Oh man. I mean, that's the kind of good thing about doing these recap videos for myself, less as forms of entertainment for others. It allows me to reflect on how much I've grown and maybe what I maybe still need to learn from. That's why I'm having fun just scripting out these videos. Yeah, videos plural, because I'll be making a few more of these. I want to make a scripted video for this game event, obviously. I want to do one for Scream Jam 2025, and then I want to do like a YouTube short one for the April Fool's one, because I don't think the April Fool's one is interesting enough to stand as a proper long form video, but you know, we can definitely make something out of the other stuff. A blender made our coffee machine. Which served as my introduction to the world of UV maps. Turns out, the way Blender exports UV maps. Actually, I should explain what UV maps are. What is the best way to summarize what a UV map is? I kind of want to say it's like how a 3D engine decides what faces of a model are visible and invisible, but that's not really all UV maps are. UV maps are a whole thing. And we'll just summarize it that way, unless someone has a better way to summarize it. UV maps are how 3D models decide what parts of them are invisible. That's also not really correct. Oh, okay. You know what? Might be helpful. We live in the world of information. We can just look up the definition of UV maps instead of me ignorantly putting out a false definition. UV mapping for 3D graphics. Here we go. So I'm pulling this from Wikipedia. Feel free to let me know if this sounds wrong. Quote, UV mapping in 3D graphics is a process for texture mapping a 3D model by projecting the model's surface coordinates onto a 2D image. You know what, Awen? I was going to be very wrong on that. You're absolutely right. Okay. That's actually a really good way to explain that. Alpha is visibility, or lack thereof. UVs are how renderers map the texture to faces. Okay. So what I really want to say is UV maps and alphas, because the faces in this part of the stream were invisible. So definitely want to talk about how I learned about UV. Oh, my brain. Normals. I need to talk about how I learned to recalculate the normals. Whatnot. When I imported the coffee machine into Unreal Engine, the dispenser nozzle, maybe just the nozzle. The nozzle was that flipped normals. You know what? Yeah. Yeah, flipped normals. Because we had to do the back face culling and recalculate normals to fix the issue back then. So maybe not UV maps and alphas. World of normals. Nozzle was partially invisible. You were incorrect here. How so? I'm curious. Because gotta love cold back faces. Partially invisible. Because the normals or the hold on. Gotta be smart about this. What are 3D normals? A normal in 3D modeling is a vector perpendicular to a surface, vertex, or face that defines its orientation and direction, typically pointing outward. Okay, I'm going to simplify the hell out of that definition. Direction, the model's faces are oriented. If done correctly, all sides of the model that should be visible are visible. If done incorrectly, the outside, we'll just say it. The player can see into the model when they shouldn't. Actually, it might be better to say parts of the model will be invisible during rendering. The faces were pointing inwards, so Unreal was culling the side you see. Yes! That's the correct way to explain it with the right technical vocabulary. I should explain by thinking a little bit. When I'm writing anything really, especially technical stuff, because I have to do that for my real job, I try to avoid using accurate technical terms because the average person won't know what those are. So it's better to, if you have to use those words, take the time to explain them as you go, but you don't want the whole document to be an introductory crash course into the world of 3D rendering if the user doesn't have the need to know that knowledge. For example, I may be doing programming for work, but my bosses have no need to understand programming. All they care about is, does the software execute the tasks that they are seeking? So I can certainly sit down with them and explain how the materials I'm using in Unreal have to be set a specific way to have a metal reflection surface by using the node shader graph. But at the end of the day, they're just going to ask, does it look like metal or not? They don't care. Also, my parents watch my videos, so I'd like them to be able to consume this video without making it feel like I'm just spouting nonsense. Anyway, back to stream here. Looks like once the copy model was fixed, we designed the gun, which, hold on, pause that frame. Call me John Moses Browning with my excellent gun design. God, that's lazy. I need to interrogate my past self and ask, what were you thinking? Because I know what my taste in guns are, and that's not any of them. That's just a weird design. Oh well. At least we can say that we drew the gun. Luckily, this is a simple fix through Blender's tools, but it was a lesson learned. For future projects and models. Alright, let's drink some water. We might actually get most of the script done today. That's pretty exciting. Okay, why does my writing software do that? Okay. Capped off the session. Designing. You know what? I'm gonna steal the joke I just made about being John Moses Browning. That's gonna be funny for some people. Designing the magic gun that will be used by the player. And I'm just gonna put in parentheses for myself. Show gun drawing here. Look at that. Call me John. I need to look up his name. How do you spell his name? John Moses. Oops. John Moses Browning. We'll just say John Browning. Because I am clearly a master of weapon design. Yeah, John Moses Browning was a influential weapon designer. There's this YouTube channel. Shoot, is his name Zach Hazard? He does Fallout content, but he was a former small arms repairman for the, I think, the Marines. So he's a huge gun nut, and he has a really funny series called Zach's Gun Rants, where he just picks up a gun in Fallout and just talks about its feasibility, whether it pisses him off or not. And every single time he sees like a really horrible gun, he's like, that's an insult to John Moses Browning's name, his holy name. He's a funny guy. All right, day 4. Where's my cursor? There it is. Day 04. Alright, how did we start the stream? Guntism rants. I mean, it basically is. It basically is. Because, like, he'll see, so he plays with a buddy sitting next to him, and his buddy mods the game for him to have more real-life firearms. So that way he has something to talk about. And he'll literally be like, you'll see an enemy NPC, and he's like, are you shooting me with a Tokarev? Kill the enemy, and he goes, oh, I don't know how I got that right. And then he'll just talk about the Tokarev, like, just off the cuff. It's pretty funny, honestly. What am I modeling here? Hold on, let me put this to 0. Here, I'll turn on the sound. And then we'll bring this up to level. Yes, we're good. And then we'll add a modifier. Mirror modifier. I believe that's all I want to do. What am I modeling? That was decent. And check that. Oh my god. I hate watching myself work. What are you doing? Use the snapping tool. Bring this one in. And then we're going to use 2 vertices as well. Seriously, what am I modeling here, though? Is this another cup? that's the tip jar done. Oh, that's the tip jar. I'm sitting here like, you already have a model of a cup. What the hell are you making? It's the tip jar. I forgot there was a tip jar in the game. But hold on, if I pull up the itch.io page, is the tip jar even visible? Did I even use it? I did use it. There it is, right there. It front and center. I just forgot about it. Wow. I need to like rewatch my VODs and be like, how much of this game development stuff did I forget happened because I'm just not paying attention or whatever. Anyway, that's one mystery solved, so we can just start with that. What else did I do during day 4? Oh, day 4 was spent mostly modeling the gun. Oh, and the coffee bean. Oh shit, hold on. Let me get to a good timeline position here. There. There he is. Our coffee bean. His debut was day 4 of the game jam. What a time. What a time. Anyway. Day 4 was mostly spent modeling and rigging assets for the game, with making a tip jar so the player, that's the tip jar, the magic gun. And then I started working on the enemies. You know what's a funny thing to think about, Awen? I think Cat for the Arms was when you initially taught me about weight paints. And while I understood like the basic stuff, I didn't understand that weight paints were based on what vertice you were clicking on until Spooky Jam 2025. Because I remember weight painting the vanilla bean was painful. I remember it being really, really painful. And I think it was because I was trying to draw on the face, and I was wondering why the faces weren't changing color. God, so it's kind of nostalgic thinking about like how little I knew about Blender and Unreal and how magical it was to learn all this stuff as I went, which I'm still doing, I guess, but man. This is such a fun project to look back on. Okay, try working on the enemies. I should probably talk a little bit about how I didn't. That gets a lot of people. The weight paints, yeah, it does. Honestly, when you first told me, and you told me like even you were kind of confused by that at first, it's like it must be a common thing then, which I guess makes sense. When you make a tool that's about like drawing on a surface, telling people it's not that is, you know, wild. That's the fun part with Blender. You will never be done learning. I would argue that's the best part about any part of game development, because there's always stuff to learn. Like I'm learning things about Unreal. Actually, I have a funny story for you. So on April 2nd, right? I ended the stream by saying that I was going to polish up the April Fool's project on day 3 and then just publish it as is. I found out something about Unreal that I never would have thought was possible. So Unreal Engine has a lot of plugins that are just on by default. And a lot of it you don't need, you know, like, oh, you want the ray tracing plugin. Oh, you want the MetaHumans plugin. Oh, you want Apple Video Player plugin. I didn't want any of that for the project because that would essentially bloat it. It doesn't necessarily bloat the size of the project, but it certainly introduces things to the project files that may not need to exist. I get it from a technical standpoint, but the visuals could really have used a pointer or tooltip that shows what you're trying to affect. That's true too. Blender could have made that a lot easier to communicate. Anyway, Unreal has plugins, right? I wanted to turn off a ton of them. So in my infinite wisdom, when I was getting ready to export the project for the April Fool's joke, I went into the plugin settings and just turned off over 150 plugins. One of the plugins I turned off was the Python script editor plugin, because I thought, at least, Unreal doesn't have any Python scripts built in. Oh, how wrong I was, because apparently that Python script plugin is responsible for some part of Unreal Engine's boot up sequence. So I almost corrupted the entire April Fool's project because I turned off a plugin. Like, Unreal would crash trying to load my project after I had to restart it from turning off certain plugins. I had to make a new Unreal Engine project, copy paste all the content files, and then just do a data integrity check to save the project. So don't turn off the Unreal Engine Python plugin. That's the moral of that story. All right. Anyway, where were we? All right. Modeling the enemies. When preparing for the project, Dog and I didn't even take the time to consider how the monsters would be designed. So I gave up and made them giant versions. Not giant. I made the raw ingredients the monsters themselves. So, modeled and animated a hostile coffee bean and vanilla bean worm. Actually, hold on. Do I even finish the animation? Because I do remember having a riot of a time looking at how it ended up being animated. So let's go to texture paint. We're making a new texture slot. Do I not animate it in this stream? I thought I did. Then we'll add. It needs to be like deep brown. Hi, look at that. Looks great. Let me select the skeleton, please. VX. And we'll call. I guess I didn't animate it that stream. Huh. Alright, well. That for A4. That was all I had time for. Save. Let me stretch real quick. I forgot to do my stretches and exercise before the stream. I had only woken up like an hour before the start. Okay. If we have time tomorrow after the in order to brew the ultimate coffee, you must slay Bean G. Oh my god. I kind of want to take that idea for the next Cafe de Arms version, where it's like there's a boss variant of the ingredients that, like, I don't know, add bonus points to your coffee now. That sounds like it'd be really funny. That sounds like it'd be really, really funny. God, maybe we should do a design session when we get back to Cafe de Arms, where we just actually like write a proper design document for that. Because the quote unquote design document for Cafe de Arms that we did make for the game jam is not really a design document more than it is a bunch of ideas thrown on a piece of paper. Not that that was bad for what we were doing at the time, but it's certainly funny to look back on that and be like, oh yeah, no, we didn't do a whole lot there. All right, we're now at day 5. Put the title card there. I say title card. It's a section header. What did we start day 5 with? Here, you know what? Since I'm just skimming the timeline, we can just put this up together right here. We'll screen that. Oh shoot, are we modeling the coffee shop? We are. We're modeling the coffee shop here. I actually have made 2 different alternate versions of the coffee shop. One of them is kind of visible. The coffee shop used here is definitely different from the coffee shop assets that you see on my like Twitch page, whatnot, and my thumbnails for YouTube. But I have another version that I started working on and I haven't finished. Might be worth having a stream where we just rebuild the coffee shop. That'd be kind of fun to do, especially now that all the 3D modeling that we've been doing the past year has taught me so much. Do I spend the whole stream on this? Oh shit, I even made the furniture in this stream. Okay. Texture the table, texture the chair. That looks like the door. Oh, that's the countertop. Oh my god, I remember. Hold on, this section here. This hurts now that I learned how to use the line tool for texture painting in Blender. If I knew the line tool existed, I would not have spent so much time being a perfectionist with the space tool on texture painting in Blender. How long did I spend on this? Oh my goodness. I guess it's not nearly as bad as I thought, but that was still quite a lot of time. This was just a 3D modeling day. We even modeled a tree for the cocoa beans. Oh, we spent a lot of time on the tree. Okay, so we can just say another 3D modeling day, just very quickly rapid fire the models we made. All in a day. Another Blender 3D modeling day. Rapid fire. Modeled the coffee shop building, tables, chairs, front counter, and cocoa bean trees. Even managed to properly texture them. Disconnected. Oh, that's not good. Are we back? I think we're back. Hold on. I'm gonna check Twitch. Okay, we're back on Twitch. YouTube, how are we doing? I think we're back. Hold on, YouTube's not showing me the most recent stuff. Okay, yeah, we're back on YouTube. Okay, I don't... Okay, so I think that was my fault. I had Ubisoft's launcher running in the background, and I think it was trying to do something with my internet. Because I was playing Division last night, or I guess this morning because I was up 24 hours. But we should be good now. We should be good now. Apologies for that brief disconnect. It doesn't look like we imported the models to the engine. You were just creepily repeating texture them over and over again for me. Texture them. Texture them. Yeah, looks like we didn't do anything after modeling everything though. That's kind of unfortunate. And then we'll just say not bad for 2 hours. So then day 06. Oh my god, my brain. I scrolled down on the YouTube video itself, right? Accidentally scrolled past the playlist, saw chat replay, and thought that was my current chat, and was like, "Oh shoot, why is that not showing up on OBS?" Because it's not current. Maybe I do need another cup of coffee. Maybe I do. And what did we start day 6 with? That looks like... Is that modeling the cocoa bean? Yeah, that's the cocoa bean model. Shit. Kinda quaint. What is that? Oh, that's the cow! I forgot about the cow! I think this is when you reminded me about the mirror modifier too, and how flexible that would be. Yep, already doing it right now. Mirror modifier, bam. Yeah, that's funny. So cocoa bean, we had a cow. But yeah, I remember rigging the cow was like really strange. The panic of axis swapping. Yeah. Why isn't it aligning? Why isn't it aligning? Oh, Stream Elements apparently thinks I went to live stream again. Thank you, Stream Elements. Okay, so let's start that. Finished up most of the 3D modeling at the start of this day. Made a cocoa bean and then just for humor, cow. Wait a minute. Let's see. We opened up Unreal Engine about this point. Oh, did I not finish the... Was there something wrong with the gun model? Like, why am I doing the gun model here? Well, at least that's going on. Or did I do gun modeling back here and just didn't notice? Nope. Oh, you know what? I was making sure that Unreal gave them roughness and stuff, I think. This. Oh, this is when you were teaching me about the, I think, the solidify and skin modifier. Hold on, let's go back. Gonna get a sip of water real quick. Nope, I'm getting water apparently. Oh, that cup is empty. Oops. Let's do like a base-ish shape, just for the test. This is the profile the jar will have. Okay, I'm with you. Oh, can't see me. Screw modifier. Okay, so I'm assuming highlight all vertices, then add the screw modifier. Screw. Oh, oh, that is magical. Wow. And I'm assuming if I just take these vertices and stretch them out, right? Oh, that is fantastic. That is awesome. Yeah, that was a cool thing to learn about. I don't think I've used the screw modifier since then, but it was cool to learn about that stuff. Okay. Then imported all these assets into Unreal Engine. Made sure their materials were rendering properly. There we go. It's kind of situational, but still cool to know. Yeah, I would love to do something more with the screw modifier. I see a lot of potential in that tool. I just haven't really had a model I needed to make where I'm just like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna need. But maybe when we're revisiting Cafe de Arms, maybe, oh, you know what? It might be good for the cup model. It might be good for the cup model. We'll have to look into that when we cross that bridge. Oh, and apparently that's all I did that stream was finish 3D modeling the cocoa bean and cow, and then importing them into Unreal Engine. Man. It's funny too, because like day 1, got a decent paragraph there. Day 2, got several paragraphs. Pretty neat. Day 3, still got a few paragraphs, looking kind of busy. Day 4 is barely a paragraph. Day 5 is basically a sentence. Day 6 is basically a sentence as well. But that's programming. Some days you just don't get a lot done. The amount of days at work where I give my daily report to my boss and it's like, yeah, I didn't do a whole lot, but it took a lot of time to do a whole lot and not a lot. Luckily, he's like, you know the stuff better than I do. I'm not going to judge you. Day 6, a sentence and a half. Yeah. Day 7. Here we go. What did we do in day 7? Why are you framed like that? Okay, YouTube. I see how you are. Oh my god. At day 6, I didn't have the night shift prototyped. Well, not prototype, but not modeled. Wow. I'm so happy that I'm so glad I'm watching this after doing the April Fool's joke streams, because it really does help me see how much I've grown as a developer. Oh my god, what the heck was that? What was that? Hold on. Let's go back. Here, go back 20 seconds. Let's hear what I had to say. So we have an AI. When it sees us, it'll attack us. There's currently an issue with like, oh, it's gonna kill me. Okay, it almost did. I didn't intend for the behavior to be as you're seeing right now. I meant for it to be like constantly coming after you, but I think I did something wrong, so I might use what this guy's doing as the basis for the vanilla bean.
I meant to watch you yesterday, Casey.
Oh god. No, stop.
Oh, I know what went wrong. I know what went wrong here. I think I had it to where when the player dies, they ragdoll. But the camera's attached to the mesh, so when the player ragdolls, the camera goes violent because it's following the player model. That's hilarious. So it looks like I redesigned the AI at the start of the stream. Here, let's make it a funny thing. Remember the AI we made on... Where was it? Day 2. Day 2 for night shift. I'll toss it out the window because we have a new AI with no noticeable flaws. Play clip of ragdoll bug. It's not the AI's fault, but it's funny to say it is. Okay, what else did we do? Oh, there's the cow. The cow's important, apparently. Ow.
Casey died. Sent help and snacks.
Particularly cough drops would be great. Anyway.
What was I suffering
Here's
from?
our placeholder customer.
Oh! That's right, the cow was the customer for a while. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. It's made a new AI for the day shift customers. Make sure they work properly. I assigned them an appropriate model. Hey, as far as development is concerned, every little thing counts. God. You are quick with it, Awen. You are absolutely quick with it. Make sure they were properly assign them an appropriate model for visual representation. Just a note, show cow. There we go. So what did I do for the customer? I don't think I did anything too complicated, right? Yes, we do the next check. Right. The ingredient checking in the customer AI. So I don't remember what the context was, but I did go back and like look at this, like how I made this recently, I think in the last 2 months. And with everything I know now about Unreal Engine, it's not a bad way to do it, but it certainly is overcomplicated. There are better ways to do the customer ingredient check function, using arrays and booleans. This very discerning customer would like a glass of ice. Oh my god, that reminds me of the issue with the original implementation of the customer checking stuff. Because the way I originally wrote this out, as long as one ingredient was correct, the customer would be happy with their order. So you could literally give them a glass of ice as long as they said, I want ice in my drink. I think Mossflower was the one who found that bug too, which was so funny. It hurt my soul to see him react to that, but it was funny to go like, well, at least it's a funny bug and not a game-breaking issue. An important aspect of the customer's functionality was that they was to recognize when their order had all the right ingredients. Make this possible. The customer check what ingredients were in their cup. Check if that ingredient was in their list of, was in their request, and then offer a high or low tip based on the accuracy. Such a simple concept. Here's where a joke will be inserted here. Such a simple concept, utilizing Unreal Engine's flexible array system effectively with no notable issues that will come to haunt me during Mossflower's Game Jam celebration stream at the end of the event. That the same spelling I used at the beginning? I don't remember. Mossflweer. There we go. So funny thing, I think for these like foreshadowing jokes that I got in the script already, I think we got 3 in here now. When working on the polishing aspect of a dark dungeon, available now on itch.io, for the April Fool's streams, I did find a audio pack on itch.io for free for like a creepy ambient sounds. I might use one of those during the video editing process for these. I think that would be kind of funny. They're also like pretty well done and really short, so easy to loop as well. Anyway, is that all I did that stream? I'm pretty sure I did more stuff. Which we don't need. Wait, I can grab the subtitles anymore. Oh, so we actually. I didn't know YouTube let me do that. That's cool. Raise as well. Look at me sounding smart.
Look at smart sounding me.
Shut up, John. Look at smart sounding me. God damn it. Oh, and this is when I implemented the coffee shop into the map as well. Okay, this right here, I remember going insane because the model looked so weird in Unreal Engine. And I think I talked about this in my April Fool's stream, if not the Ocean War stream, where Unreal Engine has a recalculate normals button, and that's on by default. And it's supposed to add like smoothness to your model, but if your model is low poly, it just makes it look like oddly smooth instead of like the appealing like jagged edges. I didn't understand this back then. I know this now. And it haunts me. Anyway. Do this. Once that was set up, if your model was not flat, it would have been okay. That's also true. My model was also flat, which I don't know why I thought that was okay back then, because I'm pretty sure I knew better than that, but maybe I didn't. Like, you can even see in here, the windows are pretty flat. The oppressive darkness. Yes. I just saw it a second ago. Yeah. Meant flat surfaces. Yeah, the walls should have been at least 2 vertices wide. I don't know why I didn't do that. There's a lot of stuff in VTuber Tiny Jam 2025 where I'm just like, why did I do that? Because I didn't know any better. Okay, but why did I do that? Okay, so we added the coffee shop building to the day shift level and added lights inside. Inside. Yes, inside. Inside. That shading is more for rounded objects. Ah, okay. You can set that in Blender as well, but it always looks weird unless your model has some curves. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's a lot about 3D modeling and lighting that I'm still learning, but it's fun to learn about this stuff, especially since it seems like the 3D modeling community is very like open to share stuff, just like you, Awen. Like I've been going to forums to look at like some stuff that people say, and they're all pretty generous about like, oh, just try this, and you can learn by doing this and XYZ, and it's really cool to see the community be like that. Okay, so we added the coffee shop. Added the player spawn. Added the coffee machine. Oh, this ended up being a dropped feature, what I'm working on right here. And the stream is lagging horribly. So what I was trying to do was, I think, hook up the widget to be displayed in front of the coffee machine. But adding in-world interactions to user interface elements that are not on the player's viewport is very, very strange. But maybe that'll be something I experiment more with in another project. Because even now, I'm still not entirely 100% sure how that is supposed to work. But I know that a lot of Unreal devs have talked about how it works. It's just I need to do the research. Also tried to make the coffee machine UI exist on the face of the physical coffee machine. Just a wee bit of diegetic UI. Yeah, diegetic UI is so underrated in games nowadays. It's so cool when it's done well. It's just really tough to do it. But couldn't get it to work, so that feature got dropped. We'll just say it like that. It's pretty simple. Yeah, I did spend a lot of time trying to make this work. Like, you can even see actually, I think this is when I gave up and started rebuilding the UI. Yep. Hold on. I just saw it. Am I crazy? I know I just saw it. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Oh, this is when I tried to have the numbers be on top of the ingredient icons. Yeah, unfortunately, Unreal doesn't like doing that for some reason. There's ways to make it work. I know now, but yeah, it's kind of awkward. So instead, I reworked the coffee shop UI to be, I don't want to say the word appealing, to be fixed on the player's right hand view. We'll just say that. And then I think by the end of the stream, I also added proper counters. Oh, hold on. This moment epitomizes my skill level at the time when I was working in VTuber Tiny Jam 2025. It's so perfect. You can see I understand the basics of Unreal. I understand general concepts, but the execution, it's so me. I love it. I genuinely love this screenshot. This is amazing. Oh man. With the function out, right hand view, with a count of ingredients on the buttons. And then here's what we're gonna do. Timestamp 2:45:42. (2:45:42). This image captures my skill level at the time of this game jam. Beautiful. That's all I gotta say. It's beautiful. Did I do anything else for this stream? Oh, Unreal crashed and that basically killed the stream. Okay, cool. Alright, day 8. Actually, you know what? There's only 4 more days to do, or it's 2 more days, but 4 more streams to review. I think this is actually a pretty good stopping point. We can just save this stuff for tomorrow's stream. We don't need to knock out the script today. We can finish up the script tomorrow and start working on recording and asset creation for the video proper then. So we'll save it for that. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Awen, always a pleasure to see you drop by. We'll finish this up tomorrow and make a really fun video out of it. So yeah, thanks for dropping by. I'll see you all tomorrow morning.